You stand in a stone chamber that smells of cold earth and old fire. The air presses against your skin like a held breath. Silence hangs thick, punctuated only by the sound of you breathing, something steady and small in a room that expects proof. Across the room, elders stand like carved figures, their faces smooth with age and experience. At the far end of the hall, partially swallowed by shadow, a massive bronze gong waits, untouched, patient, something older than any voice in the room. The eldest master steps forward. His voice is low but clear. Strength is not proven by victory. You swallow. There is no place to hide from those words. You volunteered, of course. You insisted. Curiosity, pride, a need to know the true measure of your own limits. Call it what you will. Now, there is no retreat. The master raises a hand, and the trial begins. The first monk approaches with neither malice nor pity. There is purpose in his step, a deliberate neutrality that makes the strike feel inevitable rather than cruel. The blow lands on your shoulder with bone-shaking force, pain detonates like a thrown stone, and breath leaves your chest in a single sharp note. Still, you do not fall. You plant your fists against your thighs, back straight despite the tremor that travels through muscle and marrow. This is what you promised yourself to stand. Another monk moves in. This time the strike targets your ribs. It feels as if someone lit a ribbon of fire beneath skin and bone. You suck in air and let it out on a hiss. Pain is a teacher, and you learn quickly. It can displace everything else, or it can teach you how to carry an unbearable weight while remaining upright. You choose to carry. One by one, the monks take their turns. Each strike is precise, controlled, and aimed to test different parts of you: arm, side, thigh, back. The rhythm is almost musical, a sequence of percussion that maps the human body in cleansed brutality. Seconds stretch into minutes. Sweat soaks the stone beneath your knees. Blood colors the floor in thin, deliberate lines. You focus on one thing at a time. Breath in, breath out, fingers anchored to rough stone, the electrical click of your own resolve. By the 20th heave, vision blurs at the edges. By the 40th, your muscles scream with rebellion, as if they remember a life where motion was easy. By the 60th, breathing feels like wading through water. But the elders do not react. Their stillness is a tool that keeps the test true. This trial is older than compassion. It is older than intention. It is a distillation of what the temple has always demanded: the ability to endure, to remain present under unbearable circumstances. The master's voice drops into the room like a stone. A heavy palm strikes the small of your back. Pain lances up your spine, and you arch instinctively, a raw sound tearing from your throat. Somehow, though, you steady. You breathe. The monks who watch exchange glances. Few have reached this point. Fewer still can meet the next step. 80. The world changes when the count moves into the 80s. A kick tears balance away, and you find yourself thrown to the floor. Skin scrapes along stone, and for a moment doubt blooms like frost in a hand. The impulse to give up is a physical thing. It sits heavy and warm and intimate, whispering the comforts of collapse. The chamber holds its breath with you as your fingers claw at the cold. Every instinct says let go, but you've worked too long, paid too much attention, and made too many choices to allow that easy escape. Slowly, painfully, you push yourself back to your knees. 90. The word arrives with a different weight. The strikes that follow are intolerable by design. They feel like everything at once, a test of your anatomy, your will, your memory of why you ever chose to be here. Your body is no longer recognizable as a warrior's instrument. It's a map of bruises, a testament to repeated impact. But it keeps doing the one thing you require of it. It keeps breathing. When you are stripped to that minimum, you understand how fragile presence is and how powerful. Then, silence. The flow of blows stops. No monk steps forward. The chamber hums with the absence of motion. You hang suspended between pain and the hope of relief. Your breath is loud in your own ears. Blood dampens your hair and pools at your temples. You try to steady your gaze, to find meaning in the blank faces around you. The master breaks the silence, his voice steady but distant, like thunder from far over peaks. The final strike. The simple declaration creates a new fault line in the room. A strange unease crosses the faces of the monks. The elders do not move. They watch as if to witness something without interfering. You try to rise, to make yourself ready for whatever form of torment the temple reserves for its highest tests. Your muscles refuse the command. And then, From the far end of the hall where the bronze gong sits, something starts to occur that you were not prepared for. The gong vibrates, soft at first, a tremor that seems to travel through stone rather than air. It isn't struck, it doesn't need to be. The sound builds and becomes a metallic hum that rolls through your bones like distant thunder. Cracks spider across the floor, and dust trickles from the ceiling. A few monks step back. This is a part of the ritual that until now had only been hinted at in old stories, a final test that is less about the body and more about relationship. Your relationship to place, to structure, to the very idea of being supported by something larger than yourself. You try to rise again. Too late. The gong detonates not as a ring, but as a concussive wave. It moves through space like an invisible force and lifts you as if you were a feather swept up by a storm. The world becomes one violent blur. You crash into pillars, then slide across stone, every impact promising oblivion and not delivering it. When the shock passes, the room snaps back into stillness, as if nothing had happened at all. The gong quiets. Dust settles as if the room were a giant lung exhaling after a long breath. The elders remain unmoved. The monks stand stunned. The eldest master walks to you with patience that feels like penance. He kneels, places a hand near your chest, listens for the rhythm of survival. After a moment that stretches too long for hope, he rises. He breathes. He states simply. The collective tension in the hall releases like a door opening. But the release is not relief. To survive is not to succeed. The trial's purpose has never been to reward endurance with celebration. It only separates those who can keep going from those who cannot. As they carry you from the chamber, bruised and battered and still breathing, the youngest monks murmur a question that carries equal parts awe and fear. The master's reply travels down the hall and through you. He does not look back. His voice is soft, but it casts long shadows. The temple itself. The words are simple, but they reverberate. They mean many things. They mean that the final test is not an opponent you can meet face to face. It is not even the body of a fellow human. Outside the chamber, the world continues unchanged. Wind, birds, mundane conversations. But inside, something in you has altered the way you measure possibility. You have been forced into intimacy with limits and learned how far you can stretch without becoming unmoored. Survival in this context is not about triumph in the traditional sense. It's about understanding the difference between winning a fight and sustaining a role. So when someone asks you later what the final strike was, you'll know it wasn't about endurance as spectacle. The gong did not testify to your toughness for the sake of praise. It revealed your capacity to belong to something larger than yourself, to bear the responsibility of continuity without the promise of applause. The temple waits silently, patiently for the next person who will volunteer to learn the same lesson.